Hi, and welcome to Scale Military Models. In this video, I will be giving you a post-build review and rundown of my 1/35th scale Canadian Sherman Grizzly, Gollum. First off, the idea for the project. So my plan for this project came in 2019 when I went to a reenactment of D-Day in northeastern Ohio. At this reenactment, I met World War II Armor, a nonprofit organization based out of Florida, USA, that owns nearly 100 World War II military vehicles. After meeting with the owner, I was inspired to make him a model. I chose the Sherman after learning it was his favorite of his tanks. The Sherman itself was built in Canada in 1940s as a Lend-Lease program. It is known as a Canadian Grizzly and has many features of the earlier 75mm Sherman M4A1, although there are many differences. One of the most notable of these differences that I replicated on my model were the cast armor bulges on the side over the ammo stowage to increase the armor of the vehicle and protection. I also added multiple other details to the kit, which I would go into detail in a few minutes. During this project, I referenced many pictures given to me by World War II Armor and that I found on the internet. I closely followed all the details and markings found on the real Sherman. As for the kit, it's not just one kit, it's based off of multiple kits and includes lots of different scratch building. The lower hull and suspension is Tamiya. The front transmission cover and upper hull is Dragon. And the turret and some other additional pieces are Azuka. The reason I did this multiple different kit bashing is because the Tamiya M4A3, I believe, has slightly different and almost inaccurate suspension, which is more accurate for the Canadian version. The Dragon M4A1 has a slightly different front nose on the casting, and the Azuka turret has everything, including the additional armor over the turret ring area next to the gunner's position, which is accurate to the Canadian versions. Now keep in mind, additional scratch building and detailing was still necessary, especially around the front of the hull, which was not replicated in any kits for sale. I would like to mention there are no kits of this variant of the Sherman Grizzly. This is one of the earliest variants. Some of the more specific details that were on this exact Sherman that I have not found on the other ones were the stowage bins in the back for the jerry cans, a few of the different toe mounting or mounting hooks for the canvas, which was sculpted out of epoxy putty, and some of the tie downs. The Pioneer tool placement was very unique for this type of vehicle, and I even went as far as to achieving the correct wood color found on reference pictures. After building the kit, I was met with the daunting task of doing all the complicated markings. Some of the more difficult ones, for example, the G16 found in the turret and the cool font of the Gollum written on the side, were done with custom decals made by a man at a logo model store. Unfortunately, these were not of the best quality and needed to be sanded down and painted over using the faint outline as a template. The Africa, Sicily, France on the front left of the tank was hand painted. Some of the smaller details and painting things were also hand painted. The star on the turret roof and the faint casting numbers on that were all aftermarket. As said previously, the canvas found on the front of the real tank was replicated on my model using epoxy sculpt. Some of the other details found on specific Canadian Shermans were the removal of the horn from the front of the tank to the left front fender. This is also present on the tank I was modeling. The construction of this model, like I said, began a few years ago, but until my skill had not developed into its current stage. I built this kit mostly out of the box, like I said, kit bashing those three kits together and not adding too much detail. After noticing that the real tank had been repainted, I had to repaint mine. After stripping the paint, I decided to go on and add more details that I would have added had I built the kit more recently. This included adding wire handles to all the hatches, including the engine hatch and rear engine bay, additions to the springs on the front hatches, photo etched tie downs on the engine deck, photo etch tool clamps, including scratch-built copper tool clamps for some of the other tools that I could not find clamps for, the removal of some details that I found inaccurate, and the addition of those copper jerry can holders, which were scratch-built. I went very subtle on the weathering, as this is, in real life, a museum piece, although I did decide to add some slight fuel stains and discoloration to the paint, especially some mud in the lower hull. As for the model itself, I completed it a few weeks ago, and have already mailed it down to Florida to its current owner, the owner of World War II Armor. I highly recommend you check out World War II Armor. I will leave a link to their Facebook page in the pinned comment and in the description, so if you're interested, definitely check them out. They post really interesting historical tidbits every few days and are actively participating in reenactments all over the country. Like I said previously, they have roughly 100 military vehicles, including dozens of World War II tanks. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.